Welcome to the Warrior's Way Home podcast.
And we are live. What up, Warriors? So, story time. So you're 27, decent job. You go to the gym 3 days a week, but your friends, they're getting promoted. They're going on doing big things in their life. And what are you doing? You're swiping at midnight. Swiping. Tinder, Bumble, maybe for some of you Grindr, whatever it may be. You can get dates, but not momentum. You want women to respect you, but the problem is that you don't respect your direction. That's what we're talking about today, guys. Dating advice for the purposeless drifter man. Hope you guys are all doing well, man. Better than good, better than great. You've been fighting your fight all week. We are going to get it going today in this session, man. I think it's an important topic. One of those ones that we probably haven't touched on enough. We've touched on it here and there a little bit, but it's definitely one of those things that's an important thing because a lot of guys are spending, and I'll even say it, wasting a lot of time dating when when they don't have enough direction in their life to even probably get the women they actually want in their life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's hard. It's hard to try to figure out what you're going to provide or what people say today, bring to the table when you don't even have a leg to stand on. When you ain't got enough money to put in your gas tank or feed yourself, how are you going to take a lady to Ruth Chris or somebody who is going to be expecting a lot more and they themselves aren't providing or coming to the standards that they're trying to set for somebody else. So it's more about, how can you differentiate between somebody who is on path, on purpose, and trying to do their thing after you've already done that for yourself, because that's first and foremost. I try to say that all the time. A man needs to know kind of what he's going to be doing with himself and his time and his mission before he decides to entertain a woman, because she's going to be asking those same questions. I think I saw a dumb skit video where it was like two people sitting down, a woman and a man, and they like catfished each other online. And she was like, "So, like, what are your goals? And you got any big plans for yourself, 10-year goals or whatever?" And he was like, "No, like you ain't got nothing. You don't got no plans for the next few years at all. Like that's not a good look." So how do you, once you find your purpose, how do you find somebody else on theirs and kind of work together instead of just entertaining people who aren't on that level?
Yeah, and a lot of guys think, there's this myth out here that if you just get your dating tactics together, you just get your game right, you get the mouthpiece, you got the mouthpiece right, everything will fall into place. And that's just not the case, man. It's one of those things, like you said, you have to, figure out what your mission is, and then you find a woman that can be worthy enough to walk alongside that mission with you is the biggest thing. And that's one of those things we harp on a lot, but it's definitely a necessary thing, especially nowadays, where so many people are just drifting through life and through their existence. It's definitely not one of those things that needs to be left by the wayside and not put an emphasis on. So
for sure, it is important to build your purpose first. Date a woman who's on their path as well, because the tactics that you can get when it comes to dating, it amplifies your mission. It is not your mission. The getting the woman is not the mission. The mission is to get somebody who can help you with your own personal way of walking in life. They're not going to replace it.
For sure.
So no matter what, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so like we were talking about, a lot of it's just about building purpose first, and I mean, even with me, I've mentioned it a couple of times, where when I put it plain, I got dumped twice, 2 times in a row, which now that I look back, I'm like, oof, that's a rough one. But 2 times in a row by women when I was not on my purpose. When I look back, it's because I wasn't on my shit.
Yeah,
is why those things ended up the way they ended. Now, would those relationships have lasted? Would they have continue the way they're going? With the guy I am right now, I think probably not. They probably still would have ended, but I wouldn't have been so probably so hurt by it or so caught up in it if I had been on my purpose and been doing what I was supposed to be doing. Because by the outside looking in, I was doing really well. It's like, one of the top trainers on Fort Carson at the base that I was training at, and wasn't searching for clients. They were coming to me fully booked out. But if you could ask me, like, what do you want to do in the next 10 years? I'd be like, well, I'm going to be wealthy. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, cool. How you plan on doing that? I'm going to be wealthy.
Right.
I didn't have a set plan. I didn't have a strategy for my life until I experienced those heartaches, that pain of, getting dumped. Especially when you think you kind of are moving around like you're the shit, you get dumped, then that hurts your ego a little bit.
Mhm.
Like, so, you're showing up like that guy, and then women are like, no, you're not.
Right. Right.
That can take that can swipe at your ego. But
Yeah.
until I experienced those things, it made me realize that it made me really focus in. Like, okay, I'm gonna focus in on me. I'm gonna focus in on my purpose. Just conversations I had even with a female cousin, like, well, she didn't see a future with you. And I was like, damn, I don't see a future with myself because I don't know what my future is. It's like, so no, yeah, that's not surprising. I'm
Yeah.
not surprised now.
Yeah, for sure. And it's because you can actually like stumble onto not your purpose, but well, I guess you can stumble onto your purpose, but when you start to put those things into place that will help you get to that point, it's definitely an attractive thing. You know what I mean? Like I like, what is his name? I can't remember the psychologist's name right now, but he wrote a really good book that we've talked about before. Uh, Relationship with, or the value of others. But Orion Taraban, he's a really good psychologist, and he talks about how everybody can make themselves more attractive, but what your goals and values are is that thing that can make you more attractive, like outside of the physical. I remember when I was in college, I wasn't even trying to date because I had just lost 2 jobs and I had dropped out of college like 2 years previously. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to work and I'll be able to, it'll all work out. Again, not having a plan. But then when I lost those 2 jobs, there was nothing to like support me or still boost me up. So when I went back to school, I met my wife not too long after that. But I was like, all right, I need to figure out what I'm going to do because I don't want to be in school forever. Like I was basically going back to a 4-year. And I was out of shape. So I was like, all right, 2 things I know I can do is find a job, or 3 things, find a job, figure out what my classes are going to be looking like, and start going to the gym because I had free access at that point. So, but those things, as I was starting to get my schedule together, like I would be mad if I was like 5 minutes off of something. I got in that much of a groove. And then the more I'm just improving myself, staying to myself, people started to come towards me. Like I would be like basically in the equivalent of a Denny's uniform, telling women like, no, I'm not interested. You know what I mean? It was kind of weird at the same time because I knew I was trying to figure out what my future was, and women were always going to be there.
Yeah.
They were always going to be around. So there's this like, you don't have to do that right now. Right now is like how I'm going to be able to figure out what my life looks like for the next, 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, and there are definitely signs, when guys are, the quote unquote drifter, or the lost boys is a lot of time we call them.
Yeah.
When you're kind of drifting through life, even if you're, and here's the thing, man, it's like you don't have to be a hobo on a bus bench to be a drifter.
Right.
There are CEOs of Fortune 500 companies that are drifters. Is
Mhm.
like, they're really good at one part of their life and really terrible at another part of life. Just because you are successful or making money in a certain sense does not mean you're on your purpose.
Yeah.
You
Could
know,
you
it means
imagine
you're good at
this?
doing a job.
Right. But like,
You know?
imagine being good. I can make 6 figures like it's nothing. But I
Mhm.
cannot keep a relationship for shit. How is
Right.
that?
Facts.
How is that possible?
Facts. And when you're not, man, there are definitely signs because we tend to overdo. It's like I look back at it. It's like when I was in those moments where I thought I was on my grind, and then I got into the relationship, and over time, I started taking my focus away from my training, focus
Mhm.
away from honing my craft, becoming the best at what I was doing,
Mhm.
because it was easy. So I was like, oh, I could put a little focus on this, and then turn around and start putting more and more of my focus into this relationship, onto
Right.
this woman, doing these things. That's when you start over texting. You start,
Yeah.
spending way too much time. It's like, aren't you supposed to be like, did you text your client back? It's like, oh, I'll text him back after we have, go see this movie or we do this thing. You
Right.
start putting certain stuff on the back burner and making her the priority. And as much as women say they want to be the priority, they do not. They do
Yeah.
not want to be okay, I'll put it this way. They do not want to be your number one priority. They want to
Mhm.
be a priority in your life, but they don't want to be your number one priority, because if they're your
Yeah.
number one priority versus your purpose, the thing you're supposed to be focusing the majority of your energy on, they're gonna get tired of you real quick. They're like,
Yeah.
he doesn't have anything else to focus on. He's always with me. That's when women start saying like, hey, why don't you go hang with your friends? Or I'll call you back, and they wait hours, or they text you back hours later, and
Yeah.
she wasn't doing shit. It's just like they really start seeing that in you, that it's like it almost becomes like a smell of desperateness
Neediness.
to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Desperation for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. It's like you become needy. You're just like, why are you always up on me? Why are you always here? Don't you gotta go to work?
Right. Right.
That kind of thing. Because
Yeah.
you start overdoing, because you're putting men have to put their energy towards something. We have to. We're built that way. If we're not putting our energy towards our purpose, a lot of times we will go find a woman to put our energy towards, to put our focus towards, or we'll find a vice, whether it be alcohol or drugs or whatever it may be. We will put all of our energy and attention onto something. It
Yeah.
might as well be your purpose.
Yeah, for sure. And that aimlessness, it just kills attraction, man, because it's like you got nothing that you're attaching your life to that's
Yeah.
bigger than you. But you're gonna see that as a problem, because if you can't be loyal to your own duties or mission, why would you be loyal to them? If you can't be loyal to yourself. And I remember our one of our mentors had kind of put that to us one time, where if you're not loyal to who you're trying to be, who you are in your future, why would anybody want to attach themselves to that? It's just destruction. It's like you're waiting for things to fall apart. But breaking down that trap is what happens when you have that aimlessness, and why it kills attraction, because you're looking for that external validation loop.
Yeah.
You're just trying to date to feel significant. So like you over text, you over plan, you people please, and it reads like neediness. It's like, man, I'm cool, but it's a incoherent lifestyle as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It just doesn't give you. If you're well, you had the perfect example. You're not texting clients back. Maybe you're not. You're skipping appointments that somebody set up. Like, oh, I can train them later.
You start
You know?
canceling. You start
Yeah, you
canceling
start
stuff
canceling.
that you're supposed. You don't go to the gym, even though before you met her, you were going to the gym 5 days a week at 5 o'clock in the morning, every single week. Yeah, you took Saturday and Sunday off, but every Monday through Friday, you were going to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. And you meet this woman, and you start liking her, and before you know it, that time starts going from 5 to 5:15 to 5:30.
Yeah.
And then one morning she's like, oh baby, it's like, come on back to bed. It's the middle of winter, you're in Colorado, it's cold, there's snow outside, you got to brush the snow off the car before you go to the gym, and there's this warm bed with a fat ass in it. with a smile and a soft voice telling you, baby, come on back to bed. It's warm under these sheets, and if you're not warm enough, I can warm you up. It's cold, baby. It's cold outside.
Right. Yeah. And I've been going to the gym 4 days. It was the 5th day. Who cares? It's fine.
Yeah.
No.
I worked out hard yesterday. I worked out hard. Yeah, I deserve.
Right.
It's like, come on, I'll rub your back. I know your back is sore. Come on, oh man. Look, hey, for the guys who know, he's like, let me scratch your head. Let me scratch. Come on back to bed. I'll rub your head for you.
Some good scratchies,
both
bro.
Of them.
Oh, man. Kryptonite.
Dude,
Kryptonite.
just saying that, I'm like, I'm looking at like, that's a hard one, bro. Literally and figuratively.
Right.
But it's one of those things that's a test for you, man. That's a test for you as a man. If you can't stand on what you're supposed to be doing, and especially if she finds out that she can, make you waver in that thing that you say you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
As fun as whatever may occur next of you staying home and getting back in that bed, there's some piece of her that's gonna lose some respect for you. If she knows your schedule and knows that you've been doing this since before you met her, and she learned you, there's gonna be a piece of her that kind of is gonna start to lose some respect for you over time. Especially if you do that on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
It's like that. Then she knows, like, well, if I can get him to do this and not do his non-negotiables, the world can shake this man up.
You know what I just thought of randomly? Super random. So like there's a whole poly community, guys who like to have multiple women. that if you have multiple women, that means that you have multiple people testing you on a regular basis, and you have to stand on it even that much more.
Yeah.
Because for one, you're not going to be able to get that type of situation working at McDonald's. So you got to have like your own business or be making a lot of money working for somebody else. But there's a lot of discipline that has to come behind that too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's twice as bad. But yeah, man, if you're not going to get one woman if you have no stated standard, first and foremost, before you even think about, having a harem, what are you like? What's your mission? What are you putting your life towards? What are you putting your energy towards? If you're not messing with every woman that's out in the streets,
Mm-hmm.
what are you building? Are you learning a new skill? It doesn't even have to be a full business because, like we said, entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs definitely exist. Two sides of the same coin. But how valuable are you in the spaces that you are taking up? Are you learning new skills? Are you being a mentor to somebody? Are you if you're an athlete, are you putting that time in the gym that will make you the GOAT? Or are you just treading by, putting in half-ass effort, not really dedicating yourself to anything real?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not even yourself or your own dreams, man. It's like, and a guy who can't fulfill his own stuff definitely isn't going to be able to lead anybody. You can't even lead yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about leading somebody else, or like
Mm-hmm.
or the guys are like, oh, she should listen to me. I should lead this relationship. Lead it where? Straight
Right.
over the cliff.
You ain't told me you was going nowhere. You want to lead? Where are we going?
Yeah, it's like you're lost, but you want to lead.
Right.
That sounds like a great idea.
Right.
That sounds like a great idea. And yeah, next there's a baby, and you're leading the whole family
Right.
astray, like
Right.
the whole group.
Right.
Yeah, man. But there's definitely, and we break a lot of this down to to martial arts. We and guys, definitely feel free to hit the comments and like and subscribe before I forget about it. Because this conversation is going to get more interesting.
Yeah.
It's already interesting enough as it is. It's just like, but like and subscribe. But yeah, man, we usually talk a lot about how life reflects like martial arts.
Yeah.
And with a lot of what we're talking about is like when you start learning martial arts, you don't start by breaking the boards and punching and learning the kicks and spinning, a spinning crescent kick. You don't learn that at the beginning. First thing you start with when you get into traditional martial arts is your stance. That's the first thing they teach you and drill into your head over and over and over again is your stance. They start at the very basic level. Even if you're a black belt in another art and you go to a new one, they still start you with the stance.
Mm-hmm.
They start you, it's such an important thing. And the stance is basically, like I said, there's a reason the stance comes before the strike is because when you have that stance, when you have that purpose or you have that mission that you're driving on, your feet are standing solid. So then when you do take a move, you have power behind it, or you have balance behind it. You're not all over the place. You're not going to try and throw your leg out. Next thing you know, your bottom foot flips out from underneath you, and you're on the floor looking like a dummy. It's like you have a bad stance.
Right.
It's like if I can push you over all over the dojo, your stance isn't great. You need to be able to ground yourself so that your technique actually has something behind it. Just same thing with your purpose or your mission. You need to be able to ground yourself in that so that your life has something behind it. When you go to do the new thing or get the new job or start the new business, you're grounded in your mission. You already know or start the relationship. Yeah. You have a solid base to actually go and do the thing. Same thing with lifting. Even if you're lifting, you don't want to just start, pumping weights on one foot. Most guys is like, I wouldn't suggest doing that because you're going to end up with a weight on your chest or on your face.
Yeah, for sure. And I like books that that actually talk about that. Like I know we have mentioned like Napoleon Hill and there's another dude that I'm always forgetting his name, but like Acres of Diamonds and the Think and Grow Rich. You know what I mean? You notice how that think part is always first. It's always like figure out what is it that you're going to do before you get rich? How are you going to be of service to somebody? What's your mission? Who are you serving? Because if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody, So it's like figure out all the details of what you're actually trying to do. And then you can increase your value that way. And it's not just increasing your value to somebody else, because your value really shouldn't even be about them. It should be about you. Like we said, standing on that even footing, that solid ground is about how you feel about yourself and what you're doing in the world. But then people can, then once they know what your stance is, they can decide how they're going to not counter it, but how they're going to react, how they're going to respond. You know, and if their stance isn't as secure, then it makes it easy for somebody like you to sweep them off of their feet. You know, but you got to have the cardio though. The cardio wins fights. You know, whether it's in these type of things where it's like your mission, because if you think you're going to be able to figure out what your mission is and accomplish it tomorrow, you're fooling. Like, this thing takes time to develop, and it's going to change. I can't tell you how many times we've actually changed the mission for Warriors Way Home.
Yeah, a couple times.
You know what I mean? It's a refinement process, but every time we go back and dig into it, we get something new, and it's like, oh snap, this surprised even me. But then this secures our stance at the same time. But you know, you got to have the cardio to withstand that fight, because it takes years sometimes to actually start to see the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, you know? It's a process, man. It definitely is a process. And, you know, like you said, we've definitely been surprised, you know, after the point where Evan wants to fight me, where I'm like, we got to redo this whole thing. And it's like, so after he wants to fight, then we get back on track.
Not always. No, I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. But there'll be times I'm like, yeah, we got to do this again.
The first couple times, it's like, yeah, why don't you come on down to the dojo? It's like, oh, you want to jump me? That's what that is.
Right. Let me talk to you real quick.
Yeah, no, let me talk to you over here in this dark alley. But it helps, man. It helps so much when you really. But it's like you said, it's taking the time and taking that moment to actually do it. Because if you're so busy doing the thing, just like with dating, if you're so busy, you know, trying to find a woman, trying to find the right woman, trying to go on a date here, go on a date on Wednesday and on Thursday, and then Friday I go to the club to try and find another woman. If you're so busy doing those things or doing all the stuff, you're never gonna have time to actually focus on these things, man. And it's, a lot of times it's just about taking that time, even if it's, you know, a weekend sometimes, you know, to, hey bro, do you need to go to ladies' night every Thursday night?
Right.
It's like, you know, when was the last time you actually sat and, you know, worked on yourself? Didn't you say you wanted to start that business? Didn't you say you wanted that promotion or wanted to switch careers? When was the last time you actually took a Thursday night or a Friday night and actually sat and worked on that versus going out and chasing some strange?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's like, where are your priorities? Are your priorities actually building a life? Are you a purpose-driven man? Are you moving with purpose? Are you dating with purpose? You know, are you just out here, or are you just out here having fun? If you are, hey, do you, bro? I've had my fun. But you know, if you say you want more out of this life, if you say you want, you know, this relationship for a reason, and you want it to go somewhere, and you want a woman who can, you know, follow your lead and build these goals with you, then you need to start moving different too. You can't just expect her to stop moving different, because we attract what we are. You know, and that's the biggest thing. Like, you know, it's lines and levels to this, just like with martial arts. You know, it's like, you know, we filter by our values, you know, not by our vibes. It's just like, some people talk about the vibes. It's all about vibes. Like, bro, it's not about vibes. Vibes come and go, just like love. Love comes and goes too. Is that you got to set stuff down on a strong foundation for this stuff to work. You know, and a lot of that is following that line, like we talk about in martial arts. And like you said, the cardio piece is a super important one. One other thing we want to start touching on is just what does it mean when you when you decide to actually focus on your purpose and everything like that. Like I said, to really start working on yourself, and maybe even if you're trying to date on the same time, we always suggest take a pause, set 90 days. You know, 90 days of what you want to do, you know, is a big thing, because especially now with you know, Gen Z and the millennials and everything like that, our focus needs more focus. We'll put it that way.
Focus needs more focus.
So a lot of times, man, readjusting, refocusing, taking that time, even if it's 90 days, bro. It's like, man, if you can't pause dating for 90 days, you probably got a problem. You probably got a problem. And I'm not necessarily saying like if you already got a girlfriend to, you know, dump her for the next 90 days or anything. I'm not even saying that. But hey, even if you got one, let her know, be like, hey, for the next 90 days, we're not gonna be going out all the time. You know, it's like, you know, it's gonna be some bare minimum for the next 90 days, because I'm working on this thing. And if she can't appreciate that, then maybe she's not the one you should be messing with, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but if you are single, put it on pause for 90 days, man. Put it on pause for 90 days. That way you can actually start to get your act together.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just a 90-day sprint is what we're calling it. You know, both of us taking those times where, you know, we've gone quote unquote monk mode, gone in the cave, you know, not mess with nobody, talk, you know, very minimal conversation, just to focus on our goals and what we're shooting for. And, you know, if you got to reassess and remake, you do that.
Yeah.
You know, and one of those things you can do is start to forge your mission in that 90 days. And, you know, I'll let Edmund get into that piece of it.
No, for sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, you're good.
For it's like a 3-part process, basically. You know, you have your purpose, you set that polarity. Where are you at? Where am I trying to go? What's the difference? How do I close the gap? You know, and then I can find some type of partnership, which doesn't even have to be a woman, honestly. It has to be somebody who's going to be able to help you move towards whatever your real goal is. You know, it's you know, a business partner, it's a life coach, or, you know, somebody you can go train with. It could be a personal trainer. It's deeper than just having a stronger relationship with another person that you want to procreate with. You know, it's like setting up your own mastermind at that point. But the reason why you want to block out your war map, you want to figure out what that transformation is going to look like. And it's a lot more detailed than we think it is. You know, actually, sorry, it's not as complicated as we think it is, but it can be detailed. You know, because you're starting to figure out, okay, if you could do it like in the next 30 days, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, what are you going to do to lose those 10 pounds? You can't just have a vague goal. I'm going to get in shape. Okay, what shape? Because a rhombus is a shape. What type of shape are you trying to get into? You know, and you know, maybe the next 30 days, maybe I'm going to increase my reading or learn a new skill or whatever. Or maybe you're going to be doing a little bit of everything during, you know, throughout the day. I've been playing a lot with AI when it comes to blocking out my war map, because it's like, I know something needed to change, and that whole becoming something new, like what it is, like your real goal is, takes time. So I'm like, all right, I marked out. I skipped past 90 days. I'm doing 120 days because I started in September. So I'm just like, I need whatever it is, I need to shake it loose and become this new person, because I'm tired of not getting the results that I want. You know what I mean? So I had to block out, you know, how much am I reading every day? How much am I working out? And this can be your own map. This is just what I like to do personally. You know, I think everybody's thing should be personalized to them, because your schedule is different than mine, your family setup, your home situation, your work, it's all different than mine. So figure out how you're going to do it for you. But, you know, even something as simple as like 90 minutes of deep work on your mission. But what are you actually trying? What are you trying to build? If it's a YouTube channel or a car or a business, like 90 minutes of something working on this thing. Lifting weights, perfect example. But training 3 times a week.
Let's give an example. Let's give a real life example. So, for instance, like we'll take weight loss and like income. So let's say the big goal that you wanted to do for a while with your weight is you got an extra 30 pounds that you need to lose. You know, it's like you could tell, you know, you weighed yourself, and it's like you look at that scale and you're like, damn. That COVID weight never left. So you know, you got extra 30 pounds that you want to lose. Are you going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days? No. It's like, so figuring out, okay, you want to lose a certain amount of weight. Okay, in the next 90 days, let's say you want to lose 30 pounds. What do you need to do to lose that 30 pounds in 90 days? Okay, I want to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days by this date. So you set the date on the calendar, you set that, boom, 90 days out, that's the date I want to have. By or before this date, I want to lose this weight. And then you start working backwards, like, okay, I know that. So how much do I need to lose each month to get there? So obviously 30 pounds, so you need to lose 10 pounds a month. Is that doable? Is that an achievable goal? Have you done that before? Do you know how to do that? Because if you've never really worked out before, losing 10 pounds in a month doesn't sound like a lot, but it is if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You know, so if you don't know what you're doing, yeah, that can be a struggle. If you do know what you're doing, yeah, you start making a plan. Like, okay, 2 pounds, you know, at least 2 pounds a week by minimum, I need to lose in this month, you know, to get me closer to where I want to be. Now, is it going to be that full 10? It's like, no. It's like, okay, but at least minimum 2 pounds a week is what I need to shoot for.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what you're doing, That's when you look into, maybe find a trainer, to talk to a friend who actually knows what they're doing and is proven that they can actually take their body and transform their body. I say this with a grain of salt, looking online, because that can kind of be a dangerous thing depending on what you find, because there's a lot of bullshit out there. But find somebody who has proven that they can do this thing in a safe way,
Right.
and start to really follow that. Follow the lead. There's plenty of information out there, ChatGPT, different things like that. So just be careful of your source. Always do some research into it.
Yeah.
Or find somebody who just knows what they're doing. If you got to hire somebody to lose 30 pounds in 90 days, go hire somebody, bro, who knows what they're doing. Do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So you set that goal, you start to work backwards. Let's take the revenue one. If you want to make, let's say in the next 90 days, you want to make an extra $1,000 in the next 90 days. It's like, okay, is $1,000 in 90 days a lot? No, but it is if you have no idea how to do it.
You ain't got it. Right. There's a lot of you ain't got it.
Yeah. If you're working at 7-Eleven or working at McDonald's, or even just working a regular job, and you're working 40 hours a week, and you're like, I have no time to do this because I work 40 hours a week and da 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 da. Bro, if you believe that, no, you're not going to make an extra $1,000. It's like, okay, you have 90 days. What you can drive for Pizza Hut on the side, delivering pizzas at night for a couple hours, and make an extra $1,000 in 90 days with no problem at all.
Yeah.
So one, you got to get rid of your excuses if you're going to do that. So it's one of those things you just got to start working that backwards. But it starts with having that goal, that set plan in mind. $1,000 in 90 days, having that date, boom, by or before this date, $1,000. By or before this date, 30 pounds lost. And then you start working your way backwards from there.
100%. And I would say, at least once you have that mission, 90 minutes of that work a day is definitely going to get you a long way. Because a lot of people say, like, when you're trying to learn a new skill, an hour a day is fine. Think about it. If you have gone to high school or college or just any type of education system, how long are the classes normally? Probably about 45 minutes to an hour on any one subject.
Yeah.
So then, that's already baked into you. You can't get rid of that. So if you can do that for a system that really didn't teach you that much, why can't you do it for yourself? Why can't you do it for something that you're actually interested in, whether it's a certification or just figuring out knowledge about how you can get that money or get that outcome or lose the weight? You know what I mean? So, but paired with that, that's for your mind. For your body, you need to be training at least 3 times a week as well. For fighters, that's sparring, strength and conditioning, running, all that kind of good stuff. But, if you're just trying to lose the weight a regular way, walking, running, swimming, there's ways that you can still activate your body so that you can get rid of the nerves and the, anxiety, so that you can actually think about the goals that you're trying to achieve. Because it's really hard when you're in survival mode and your nervous system is all shot. It's really hard to get anything extra done. I get my best ideas on the way home from the gym after working out for like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, man. Those endorphins start kicking off. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
So training 3 times a week is going to be super beneficial. I don't care if it's yoga. Stretch out your body, give it a chance to take up some space. It's really key.
Yeah, man. Getting into it. It's got to be something important to you. You got to make it a priority in your life and what you're doing. Otherwise it's going to fall by the wayside. And as much as there's been some information about dad bods, not all women most women don't probably like dad bods. I'm gonna be real about it. Like they may say they do, but they still don't want you squishy. It's like
I don't know. Deanna likes squishy, but I don't like squishy. It's my body. So I'm trying to tone up. She's like, no, don't do it. I'll leave you. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm trying to be like active and fit. You know what I mean? I want to be swole, not like pudding.
Yeah. There's only supposed to be 2 boobs in the bed when you're with her. Not
Exactly.
Like, so that's
Right.
It shouldn't be like most of that scene from Family Guy. It's like everywhere I grab it's just the boobs. It's the hottest.
Your boobs or my boobs?
It's the hottest thing ever. No, it's not. No, it's not. That is not the hottest thing ever.
Right. Unless it's a chubby chaser, then that's a whole other thing. But
if you're doing that, you're probably not watching us. I'm just gonna say it that way. But yeah, having that training block, and then man, also having fun, man. Because if it's all work, it's gonna drag on, and you're probably not gonna
Right.
do it. So getting out and touching grass once a week, man.
Yeah.
I said grass and I say ass. Getting out, touching grass once a week, getting out and actually doing something, man. Going hiking, go volunteer,
Yeah.
go meet with a new group that they're playing meetup groups and stuff like that. There are hiking clubs. There are all kinds of different clubs like that. Whatever you're into, go inject yourself into something where you're going to meet some new people and have to talk to other people. Honestly, that's how a lot of guys meet their significant other. That's how a lot
Right.
of guys meet the women they end up with.
Yeah.
Is like, yeah, I wasn't dating, I was focused on my stuff, and I went to this group, or I went to this conference, or I went to something, and saw this woman from across the room, and it's just like, there goes my baby.
Right. Right.
I saw her from across the room,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, as like, and I just knew I had to have her because we were in the same places, like with the same interests. Oh yeah, you're mine, taking you
Yeah.
home,
And it's real easy to do that too, man. It's real easy to. Some people have anxiety around starting conversations and going to meet new people. By
Yep.
going to these places where a passion of yours is already existing,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it real easy to start conversations with people. I can't tell you how many cons, like Comic Cons or conventions that we'll go to, and most people are dressed up. And Deanna likes to cosplay and all that, and I do too. But she's really good at it. So
Mm-hmm.
before she can even really get into the event, people are like, "Oh my God, can I take your picture? I love your outfit." They want to give you compliments. So
Mm-hmm.
going to a place where I don't care if it's Dungeons and Dragons or Star Wars, going to a place where that's the topic, it makes it
Yeah.
very, very easy for people to have that natural conversation. And then networking events, I love networking events. I never walk away with less than 3 people's numbers when I go to that thing, because I'm like, who are you? What are you? And it might be like the interrogator in me, or the investigator, but it's like, what do you do? Who are you? How do you do your thing? How'd you get here? Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to do.
And it makes you stretch. It makes you become that new guy, especially for guys that's way outside their comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is about stretching and getting outside your comfort zone.
Right.
Because being comfortable is going to keep you getting the same results that you've been getting, which are terrible in most cases.
Right.
So it's going to be about stretching and getting out of that comfort zone to become that new man that you want to be, who even can have these relationships that you say you want to have.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you're just out here jacking around having fun, it's like, that's on you. But it's like, if you actually want to get serious about this thing, you got to act more strategically,
Yeah.
with the things that you do.
Yeah.
So in the next 90 days, and really just dedicating yourself to, like, hey, I need to accomplish this in the next 90 days, and really focus the next 90 days on this thing and be dedicated to it. And go for the full 90. Put the dating on pause. Tinder will still be there after 90 days. I promise you, Tinder will still be there. Bump all the app. There will probably be 5 new apps 90 days
Right.
from now that you
Thanks.
can hop on and do all the things that you want to do. Is that the women aren't going to disappear in the next 90 days. They're all still going to be there.
Well, technically, the rapture was supposed to be this week, so they might have just got the days wrong. They might not be here tomorrow.
Well, I mean, if that's
Too
the case,
soon.
then you got a whole other issue if you're still here after the 90 days and all that.
Right.
So the whole, I can't help you with that one. That's
Right.
it is what it is.
Right.
So I might be trying to figure out my own stuff after that. In that case.
Right. Right.
But it's one of those things that so in the next 90 days, being like, hey, I'm gonna dedicate myself for the next 90 days. And dude, if you don't make it the full 90 days, like spending every day, doing the 90 minutes of deep work a day. Yes, even on the weekends. Yes, three times a week, getting and doing something physical with your body, exercise, whether it be hiking, or if you're just getting started, even just walking, like you said, getting in the gym, going to the dojo, starting something new and experiencing that, doing that, and putting yourself one time a week in the social environment, something new, going out and actually touching grass, getting out of your house and meeting new people.
Yeah.
If you can't do this every week for the next 90 days, that time starts over again. Dedicate yourself to complete this fully. A man who can actually accomplish something, who can actually, because this is the thing, we're not going to know if you start this and you don't finish it. It doesn't. If we're going to be real, it's not going to affect either one of our lives if you start this and don't finish it, but it will affect yours.
Right.
And a man who can actually accomplish a goal proves something, not just to everybody else, but to himself. Because you learn that you can actually keep a promise to yourself. Because if you don't do this and you say you are, you are breaking promise to yourself. And
Yeah.
that's probably one of the deadliest things that we do as people in general is break all these promises to ourselves and then wonder why our life is a disaster at the end of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, put the dating on pause, put the apps on pause, put the phone down and dedicate yourself for these next 90 days to do this thing. I guarantee you, if you do this in the next 90 days, dude, you'll probably have women sniffing after you, to be honest.
Right. Real. That's real. And it's like when you said starting over, that 90 days starts over, that's so real because that's been me for the past year. Is just trying to, not live day to day, but it's like living that month to month in those chunks of how much progress did I make in this 30 days? How much
Yeah.
progress did I make or whatever? And there have been times, man, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'll get to like day 20.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? It's, whatever. I'll just, I'll eat that thing or, I'll stay up late or do whatever. And then the next, after I break that streak, I'm always like, damn it, why'd I do that? Like I've already proven that I can do 10 days twice. It was just another 10 days. It really what it was. It was like Ramadan because I'm not religious, but I wanted to test myself to see if I could stay on that type of like curriculum for that long. And the not eating part fucking sucked. Like not eat like from 12, like from noon to 8 is when you can eat. Or
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, from when you can eat. Anything after that, it's like, man, I'm like starving by 10 o'clock. And I did that for 20 days, and then by the like last 10, which is actually supposed to be the most important like piece of that, I folded. And I was like, man, I could have stuck out another day. And that's all it ever is I can do another day. Whatever bad stuff you're going through, bro, whatever like confusion and trying to get through the woods of your own despair, you can make it another day. But it's like if you have a mission, it makes that process a little bit easier. And that's all we're trying to do is help you make this a little bit easier. So like by toughing it out for 90 days, 120 days, for 6 months, a year, whatever, by dedicating yourself to yourself, first and foremost, you are proving that you are worth keeping around, you are worth the effort that it takes to get to the level that you're trying to get to. Your future self will thank you. It is the person cheering for you the loudest when it comes to you accomplishing your goals and becoming the man that you say that you want to be. Like you can have all this ambition, but if you're constantly underachieving, it feels like you're never going to be able to finish this thing, no matter what it is. And if you're not dedicating the time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears to yourself, you'll never dedicate that to anything. You'll never trust yourself for that. You'll just drift,
Yeah, for sure, man. And so let's talk after the 90 days. That you've accomplished your goals. You went the full 90 days. Maybe you had a few hiccups and you had to restart and da. We've all gone through it. As we talk about. But you made it through that 90 days. You made it through the wilderness. You came out on the other side a new man.
Right.
What's next? It's like, okay, you pick up that app again and it's
Right. Why did I ever leave?
So you pick up the app again and the first thing that hits you is some beautiful bosom in your face, liking your video or liking your picture.
Right.
You weren't paying attention. She was liking all your stuff while you were getting your shit together. It's like, okay, I said, damn, she's fine. It's like, so what's the next move after that time? Because hopefully your perspective changes a little bit. So we're gonna talk like some red and green flags when you are dating as a man with purpose, because now that you've found your purpose and you're getting back on track. I usually would tell guys take a little more time, but not everybody's gonna do that. They're like, I did the 90 days. They're like a man in the desert with no water. Like, I need it. It's like, so for those who need it, or when they decide to get back into it. The biggest thing with dating when it's tied to your purpose is not just does your life have to have a purpose, does your business have to have a purpose, but your dating also has to have a purpose to it. So figuring out what that looks like for you is super important. And one big thing is going to be honestly setting boundaries with the women that you're dealing with, because now that you are on your purpose, you got to guard that like a pit bull that's been starved for 2 weeks with a barbed wire fence between them. You got to guard that viciously, bro, because now that you found it, you really need to hold on to that. And the big thing is, how do you identify if she's even worth your time? That's you got to lead with that. You got to lead with that. You got to lead with that purpose. And that doesn't mean, breaking down and being like, when you on the first date, be like, so what are your goals and ambitions and what's your 10-year plan? I'm not saying that. Some guys will say like, yeah, you
Right.
should dig into
What
it,
do you
figure
bring
it
to
out.
the table?
Yeah, that question there. Never ask a woman that out loud. Phrase that differently. It's like
Where did this table come from?
they're like,
where is the
I
thing on this
am the
table?
table. There are definitely
Yeah,
different ways to ask that question without literally asking the question, what do you bring to the table?
right.
You're never going to get a good answer from that. You're just not. Either she's going to look at you like you're an idiot, or you're going to have some backlash from that one.
Yeah,
um, but there are ways asking certain questions, being very specific in what you ask. Like, hey, yeah, so what do you want to, what do you enjoy doing? Where do you want to be,
yeah,
in the future? Where do you want to, let's say 10 years. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
yeah.
I'm not interrogating you with it. That's me asking a question. Same thing I would ask somebody that I just met, is like, or at a networking, conference or something like that. It's like, so yeah, man, what do you want to, okay, so you're doing this thing. Cool. Is that what you want to do 10 years? Is that what you want to be doing? Like, where do you see that 10 years from now? Is that what you want to be doing? Oh no,
Right.
I actually want to do this thing. This is just a temporary thing. Oh, okay, cool. Really just talk to them like a freaking person, bro. You don't need to be, either all
Right.
cautious or like, like they're under a light in, SVU,
Right. Right.
in the bottom of the police station. Just talk to them like a normal person. But there are ways to figure out if this woman is even worth your time, and really pay attention to what is being said by her, because that's the key thing. Because a woman will tell you honestly, just like a guy will tell himself, women tell themselves too. She will tell you if she's worth your time.
Yeah,
you know
people love
um
to talk about themselves. So
oh,
asking the
facts,
right
man, facts.
questions. I
Hmm.
think you told me that one time. I was like, I pick up on your something style because like the way that you talk about yourself. And I was like, oh, okay. And I thought about it. I was like, no, that's real because everybody wants to tell their story,
Hmm.
but not everybody wants to listen.
Yeah.
So if you're actively engaging somebody and using that as like an offensive thing, an offensive skill, it's
Hmm.
like, hey, I find you interesting. Talk to me. Is
Yeah.
generally what you're after, and then they will spill their guts, and you can figure out, you know what I mean? Like, is that
Yeah.
person going to be helpful to me, or are they going to cause me to be drifting again and be a
Yeah.
distraction, and
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Is this person? Is there a possibility of this person being an asset, or are they strictly a liability?
Yeah.
I told you I was back when I don't use dating apps anymore, really, especially not here in the U.S. But when I was spending my time on Bumble and Tinder and stuff like that, I ran across one woman that I could think of. No hate on her. I'm not gonna mention any names. I don't remember her name, honestly. Um, but
After race.
so so we matched and everything like that. Start talking, get it, exchange numbers and everything, and we're talking on the phone, and I'm asking questions like, yeah, so finding out about, so where you from, da 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 da, what do you do? I said, oh, I work at a warehouse right now, and da 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 da. It's like, oh, how long you been doing that? Oh, not too long. It's like, oh, what were you doing before that? Oh, this thing, and then before that was this thing, and then before that was this. I was like, oh, she's a hopper. She hops
Yeah.
jobs. So it's like, okay, so that's. I don't know. Maybe she's finding herself. Okay, maybe that's what's going on. I was like, okay, well, what do you want to do? It doesn't sound like you like that. What do you want to? What would you? If you could do anything, what would you do?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm like, oh god, no, that's red flag and play. Red
Right.
flag, red
Yeah.
flag is like, so. Not only are you hopping with no direction, not only are you drifting, but you don't know where the hell you're going.
Yeah.
It's like,
Makes it tough.
I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know about this one. And my thing is like this: if you're 18, that's one thing, but when you're in your 20s and 30s, you're too old to be playing this game.
You know what?
you know,
I
at
gotta
least
give a
I'll put it this way: with me, you're too old
yeah,
to be playing this game with me. Is that you can
yeah,
play the game all you want to, but if I know where I'm going, and
yeah.
like I said, I was on my purpose. At that time I figured it out. I was working. I was doing, running the business, doing the thing. Knew where I
Mhm.
was going. So to meet a woman who didn't, like, in that way, and wasn't concerned about it, that
Yeah,
was the thing that caught my attention. Was like, I don't know, I guess I just figure it out. I was like, nah.
right.
It's just
Figure it
like,
on your
nah.
own time.
It's
Yeah,
like, nah. I can't even talk to you,
right,
because we're not even gonna have we're not even gonna have the same conversation, because I'm gonna
right.
be talking about my ambition and my goals and my dreams and things I want to do, and you have no clue, not even a hint of, like, I was thinking about this thing. Not even
Right.
that. Like, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, it's honest,
Yeah.
but it's not. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work for me. You and me are not gonna be in line in this.
Yeah.
And even though you got a nice figure on you, you sound sweet, have a nice voice and everything like that, and I could probably spend some time with you. I don't have time to waste.
Yeah. The only caveat I would add on that is after 25, you should really be kind of knowing what you're going to do. I only
She
say
was
that
over 25.
because
She was over 25.
that's one thing. But I would
Yeah.
say just in general, because I started later. I feel like I'm a late bloomer, but when I
Yeah.
get going, boy, do I get going. So when I first got out of college and all that, I was probably about 23, 24, but I was working. I had an education by that time. Like I knew I wanted to grow in the business I was at, but there were a lot of people that were still around me that didn't have it together. So I would say around 25, you should be really getting that itch of what am I about to be doing for the next 25? Because like, yeah, you're having your fun, you're having your playing games and just playing grab ass all the time, and you're drinking. Like you're legal. You're actually legal to do all the stuff at 21. Mazel tov. Next 4 years, have fun, do your thing, travel, don't get in too much trouble. But by 25, no babies. Yeah, if you can help it. But by 25, because when you hit 30 and have that problem, it hits you a lot harder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've definitely seen people in their 40s who were like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life, and or because they've already been in a job 5-10 years and they have no direction. And maybe they have a family, but they never got to satisfy that thing in their heart that said that I can do this. You know what I mean? Or I want to do this, or this is my dream. They left their dream alone because they had to take care of their family and they're in survival mode. So if you can help it, by the time, even afterwards, but like by the time you're 25, you should be really honing in on what that thing is for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And it has to be. And once you find it, man, you gotta be mission first. You have to be. You cannot. At that point, you cannot make women the priority. I'm just real with it. Is like a priority, yes, but not the priority.
Yeah.
Is like I joked with some clients of mine one time. It's like they're like, why don't you have a girlfriend? It's like because she's gonna have to be okay with being the second woman.
Yeah.
It's like because my mission is first. It's like that's the wife. That's the wifey. It's like she's gonna be side chick, so she gotta be okay with that. She's like, don't say that to her. I was like, oh, I will. And then I'll go sleep. And then I'll go sleep on the couch. No, but
not that tone, but like you
gotta be mission first. You gotta be mission first, and that's just not with romantic relationships. That's just with people in your life. Period.
Yeah.
You have to be willing that as our boy Soul says, anybody that is gonna suck you away from that mission, has to be, you have to be able to put them on the chopping block. It's like, do you just come up and you don't just necessarily come up and just get rid of people off jump, but you gotta be willing to let some people go and walk away from certain things.
Yeah.
What's up? What up, Jay?
Yeah.
That's Jay. Okay. Yeah, you gotta be willing. You gotta be willing to walk away from certain things and certain people, man, in those situations. Because at the end of the day, your purpose is going to be the thing that your life is about. And this person may be here for a day or a week or 10 years. You don't know. So, but if they're going to interrupt or step in between you and your mission, bro, you gotta be willing to just let that stuff go. Even with your non-negotiables, that same chick I was telling you about was decided, I wanted to find out more, so I kept talking to her.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, let's FaceTime. That's another red, green flag. Always FaceTime. Always. If you meet some woman online, always FaceTime, bro. Always. And the secret is, not just have her FaceTime her ass. Like, hey, what kind of car you got that kind of car? Show me. Have her walk her ass outside and show you the car so you're not talking to AI.
Yeah.
Oh, get in and start it up for me. Let me hear your engine. You said you got to tick with your engine. No, I'm joking. You don't need to do all that.
He needs no filter. I need today's paper. I need proof.
Proof of life. I need proof of life when I'm dealing with
Right.
these women.
Where's your real birth
especially,
certificate?
especially online. Yeah, it's like show me your driver's license.
Right. Right.
It's like
Yeah.
you need proof of, but FaceTime. So I was like, I was like, hey, let's talk on FaceTime. So I'm about to I'm doing something. I can call. We can FaceTime in like an hour. I think she said. I said, okay, that works because I was food prepping. I was like, yeah, I'll be done in an hour. Yeah, that works. Cool. So I finished what I was doing, and I think I went, clean up the house. It's Sunday night or something like that, and I'm cleaning
Yeah.
up, getting ready for Monday. And I happened to look. I happened to look at my phone because I heard a buzz. I was like, oh, and I look. I was like, it's been like an hour and a half. I'm like, what? And so I hit her back. I'm like, hey, we doing this. We FaceTiming. What's up? Because it's starting to get later. It's like
Yeah.
9:30, something like that. And so I don't hear from her for like another half an hour to an hour, something like that. And she hits me back. She's like, oh, I was watching a movie and got caught up. Can we FaceTime now? And I was like, nope, I'm about to go to bed. I was like, because I got to get up and go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning, like I
Yeah.
do on Mondays. That is my
Right.
non-negotiables, to get my ass up and go to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I got up. So I was like, no, I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm about to lay down and go to bed, maybe some other time. And I left it at that and never contacted her again, because for me, it was, you don't see my time as valuable, because
Right.
we were supposed to talk like an hour, like over an hour ago. Is like, but for whatever reason you decided like, yeah, you could watch a movie. You could have just said, hey, no, let's do it another time.
Mhm.
But you didn't see my time as valuable in that instance for me. So I was like, nah. And like I said, it was just too many red flags. And so like I said, you gotta be willing to come off. It's like between that, not knowing where you're going, and like I said, seeing that you're kind of drifting through life, just doing stuff. I
Yeah.
was like, nah, bro, you're gonna be a liability to me, because
Yeah.
if I'm so gung ho and going after my mission, going after these goals, and you're just sitting here just drifting along in the world, you're gonna be adding chaos to my life.
Yeah.
You're gonna be wanting to do random things on Monday morning when I'm supposed to be going to the gym, or I'm supposed to be you got a client and you're gonna be complaining that I'm always working or whatever it may be. I can see where this is going. I'm thinking 5 moves ahead. This is gonna be a problem, because you don't know you don't know where your life is going, so you're gonna make my life hell in
Right.
some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna make my life harder. So no, it's not worth it at the end
Yeah.
of the day.
And all you were doing was protecting your frame. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You were protecting the square that you were standing on. You were protecting your foundation, and said that, hey, like, I know, and this is what I did. One thing I really appreciate about you sometimes, when you're like, I'll say, hey, I need to do this thing, or let's move this thing back. And you're like, maybe once, but we're not going to do that too many times. Because like drifting only takes that one time for it to
Yeah.
loosen the screws on your whole operation. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's like if you say we're going to meet on Friday, then we need to meet at Friday at that time. And if we need to push it back once or twice, hey, life happens. But
Yeah.
outright canceling something is like never on the table. Because like, hey, if we can't do it today, we're going to do it tomorrow. Because like this thing needs to get done. Otherwise, we keep making caveats on certain things, and like then our own discipline shifts, and we're right back to square one.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Not even day one, square one.
Yeah.
So it's really important to keep those oaths to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And just validate your actions, and making sure that everybody around you respects that as well. Because if they don't, if they see that you don't respect your own code or discipline that you're trying to maintain and build, they're not going to respect it either.
Yeah. And making sure that they know it's important to you. That's one thing. That's one thing I would definitely tell guys is you got to make it clear what your non-negotiables are. You can't, if you don't verbalize that to the people in your life around you, you can't be mad when they try and cross that boundary with you. That's why you got to set strong boundaries, even when you're looking and getting into relationships. There's certain things that I just don't accept. And I make that very clear. If I do decide to even start dealing with or start talking to a woman, I make that very clear that there's certain things I do not accept.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like straight up disrespect and stuff like that will not be tolerated whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. It's I respect myself enough to give you notice of what's okay and what's not. Be like, hey, I do, this I'm cool with. I don't mind that. It's like, you're not gonna call me, you're not gonna call me on my name. It's like I'm not gonna argue with you. We're not gonna do that. It's like I don't do the yelling and the fighting and all that other BS. We're not gonna do that. Is that
Put
you
your
want to sit
hands
and have
on.
you want to sit and have a conversation, even if the conversation is, a rough one to have, we can do that all day. Is like, but if you want to sit here and yell and scream and do all these different things like that to try and get your point across, you're gonna be arguing by yourself.
Right.
Because I will walk away from your ass.
That's
or
real.
or turn around and take you back home. In
Hmm.
certain situations, we're out going on a date, I will turn around and take you back home and not
Yeah.
worry about it all, tears and all. You'll be sitting on your porch. It's
Wondering what happened.
yeah, I can't believe you actually dropped me off. I told you I would.
What did
It's
I
like,
what did I
so,
say?
yeah, so there are certain things, that are just not. Are just not going to fly. And not being a tyrant with it, but just letting you know. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
these are the things I don't accept. These are the
Yeah.
things that these things I do. This is the kind of guy I am. This is
Mhm.
this is how I operate. It's like, if
Yeah.
you're not cool with that, yeah, I work a lot. I'm, definitely a workaholic. I'm really dedicated when to my mission and stuff. When I get into something, I give my all to it. It's like, if you're not okay with that, and you're gonna be complaining about it all the time, we probably shouldn't even pursue this at all.
Yeah. That's facts, man. So like protecting your frame is definitely key. And
Hmm.
also letting people know that they are getting integrated into your system. They're not
Yeah.
they're not, like I said, they're not taking the screws out of anything. They're not removing, they're not replacing anything. You
Hmm.
are an addition. You are
Yeah.
not replacing my good habits. You're not replacing my education. You're not replacing, there's nothing extra. And like I love that quote where it's like, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So like I have to have all of my stuff together before I can really start to pour into somebody else. And that's
Yeah.
all we're really saying. And we're not trying to be malicious and just say that women are not bringing value to anything. It's just like,
Yeah.
they don't want anybody who doesn't have anything going on for themselves.
Hmm.
You don't want anybody that doesn't have anything going on for themselves around you now.
Yeah.
So
Facts.
like, why would you expect other people to be okay with you lollygagging?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So just like
Yeah.
contributing to the household, team, practice, yourself, whatever, you know what I'm saying, is the main goal. And you can't, or rather you shouldn't build your life around dating. Build your mission. Invite the right woman to walk beside you, but they're
Hmm.
not going to replace that.
Facts.
Like you are our I almost said our ancestors, our parents and their parents and stuff like that. Like they're also here. But it's like it's when they were doing it, there was no choice. Like a man
Hmm.
had to take care of everything because a woman didn't have an education.
Yeah.
These days, women are smarter or
Some
they
of the
have more
men didn't have
degrees than we.
education.
Some of the they were turning wrenches and that's how they kept the lights on. But
Hmm.
these days, bro, they don't need us for that. Like they already have their education, they have their purpose, or at least they're fixing themselves to whatever it is for their degrees or whatever that they want. But men are not keeping up pace with that right now. At least right now, it was, and equality did great for that piece of it. But men decided to fall back. Their education and their upbringing wasn't prioritized. So now you have a lot of drifters who are, quite frankly, in abusive relationships or causing abusive relationships, being abused themselves. They're not providing the true value that they are capable of. They know it's there, but it's not being cultivated. They don't have mentors and stuff like that to help them stay on the right path. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna give you some pushback on that one,
Okay.
because I don't necessarily think a man has to have a traditional education to be on purpose.
Oh no, 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 no. I'm
Um,
not saying
you
that.
know, and yeah, women are much more. There are a lot of women who are in college getting BS degrees, just like there
Yeah,
are a lot of young guys in college getting
that's
BS
true.
degrees. Just because somebody has a degree doesn't mean they're on purpose. Just because
Yeah,
somebody goes to college doesn't mean they're on purpose. There's a group of women who are out there, highly educated, who are not on purpose, or and are
facts.
still drifters, just like we talked about with the dudes.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you got a PhD doesn't mean you're doing what you need to do, what you want to, and on mission in your life.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of proof of that, unfortunately, these days, that people associate that a lot of times with, oh, I have education, so I have purpose. No, you have
Yeah.
education.
Right. You got knowledge. Knowledge is
Yeah,
great. Knowledge is a
yeah.
fantastic starting point.
Mhm.
I didn't even want to go to
But
college.
knowledge is not power.
But
Knowledge is potential power.
exactly,
You know.
exactly. So more speaking of just on paper, that's how it looks. If you're
Yeah.
if you're looking at just the stats that says, women are more educated and they got a better starting point and foundation and footing
Mhm.
than the typical man does now, we're in trouble. But yeah, once you get into like the active individual cases, anything could be going on. But still, that doesn't look great for the collective overall. So if you can find whatever your mission is, you can find a purpose you can attach yourself to, and actually start to build, rituals and schedules and routines for yourself to stay on that, and then it just becomes second nature. After 90 days, that's really the purpose. Because I don't know if everybody always explains why we have those type of numbers that 30, 60, 90, 120 days, 7 days. Why do you do anything for a set amount of time? Because you're trying to build a habit. You're trying to build a routine in yourself and make something automatic so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. You don't have to worry about, can I do this thing anymore? No, it's second nature. So now you can move on to something more important, like how to get the bag, building the skill, starting the business, building the family. But make the daily habits automatic and non-negotiable so that everything else is easier after that.
Yeah. And one thing I want to say is, I think some people would be like, man, you see Travis kind of maybe, I think I can come off like a bit of a tyrant at times when he likes, especially dealing with the relationship thing. Like, this is my non-negotiable. She should have hers too.
True.
It's like that's the thing. And that's the part about leadership that I don't think they talk about, is like, because when somebody watches the way you move, when you talk to somebody who has their non-negotiables, this is who I am. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know the way I move, and I know why I'm doing it. It can empower you to do the same thing. So even if you're dealing with women who maybe like knew what she was doing, knew what her purpose was and different things like that, or knew some non-negotiables, it can be like, man, it's like you were able to verbalize everything that you're about. Is like I said, who you are, what you're doing, what you're willing to accept, what you're not willing to accept. It can inspire somebody to be like, well, this is what I've always felt like I shouldn't accept. It's like, yeah, don't accept that bullshit. No. It's like, no, it's like, I don't accept I told plenty of women this that I deal with. It's like, look, I don't talk to you a certain type of way. I don't expect you to talk to me a certain type of way. I will not accept that.
Right.
It's like, because I try my best to, just like I try my best to talk to everybody with respect, because I expect everybody to talk like that to me. That's why I do that. It's like, that's why I talk to you like this. Like, and right now you're not talking to me like that, and I'm not going to accept that because I talk to you a certain type of way. And if I don't, I expect you to call me out on that.
Yeah.
If I'm not talking to you in a respectful way and I'm coming at you a certain type of way, I'm coming at you sideways, I expect you to say something to me about that, because that's not how I should be moving either.
Right.
It's like, so what I expect from everybody else is the same thing I expect to give to everybody else.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you, which means I shouldn't be, which I don't expect you to argue me, which means I shouldn't be arguing with you. I will not accept you calling me out of my name or saying some crazy, oh, you're stupid, or doing these. I don't accept you putting your hands on me, which means I shouldn't be putting my hands on you in any kind of way outside of a loving, caring type of
consent.
Way. You know, it's like, so the same thing. It should be back and forth. It's like, and that's when that leadership comes into play. When the guys are like, well, I'm a leader. You lead by how you move. You lead by how you live. You don't lead by the things you say. Walk around calling yourself a leader or a king or this or that or boss or whatever the hell it may be, doesn't make you that thing. It just makes you somebody who hopes you are that thing.
Right.
Sometimes it makes you somebody who is pretending to be that thing.
So if you want to be a boss, the first person you should be a boss of is yourself.
Yeah.
Self-mastery is everything. It's the day in and day out. And honestly, this is the perfect way to get that really started, to see, are you really that person that you say you are? Are you authentic to your own word, that not even that you speak to somebody else, or what's in your own mind? Are you actually a reflection of the image of yourself that you see in the mirror or that you see internally? So if you're not, that's okay. This is a great starting point. But the first step of recovery is realizing that you had a problem. So over the next 90 days, this is the rest of the year, basically, from October. I mean, now, there's always now. There is no tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow, Rocky. There is no tomorrow.
For the next 90 days, you need to be figuring out what your plan is. You know what I mean? You figure what is your mission? What is the goal, or whatever that you're trying to achieve? You need to be doing 90 minutes of deep work on that mission once you have it. At least 3 days of training. I don't care if it's just walking and doing yoga 3 times a week. Move your body and go touch grass. Go to networking event, find something
Meet
to
up.
do, meet up, go on a hike if you're in Colorado, go for a run if you're anywhere else. I don't.
New coffee shop, new
Yeah,
restaurant. Go someplace new.
library.
Meet new people.
Go to a new gym. You
There
kill
you
two
go.
birds with one stone. Go to a new gym.
Most of us have gym memberships where we can go to all the gyms that the place has open, a franchise. So you go to the same one on the same side of town every day, every night, every weekend. Go
Go
to
somewhere else.
go to the one on the other side of town. Go
Right.
someplace new. You
Yeah.
have your lunch on this side of town all the time, or you always go to this movie theater. Go to a new one. Go on the
Yeah.
other side of town. Go to the
Yeah.
go to the new Walmart in the nice part of town, not the hood.
Right. Right. You don't want to meet the ones in the
See how the other side lives.
Right. Yeah. So, but just break the rhythm, man. Honestly, it's really just about breaking that rhythm of who you think you are and who you're actually trying to be. Establish a new rhythm. It's about to be cold outside. It's about to be all snowy and gross. Use the next 3 months to like lock in. And that's really what, if you're tired of repeating this Groundhog's Day, that is very unproductive.
Yeah.
If you want to change, then be the change. It's going to start internal anyway. And then slowly you'll start to see the outside change too. Yeah. So let us know in the comments, man. Like share this with another brother that you feel like this was a value to you, and that if you want to lock in together, you know what I'm saying? We're already going to be doing it. You want to lock in with us, make comments on our social media or down and on the YouTube, and let us know, what are you going to be doing? Set out your 90-day plan and start to let us help you enact on that, because we're going to need your help too. We walk in the same path.
Yeah, it's accountability. It's accountability. It's having that brotherhood, that accountability we talk about in the Legion community we have. Shameless plug. We talk about that community, that brotherhood, that iron sharpening iron with each other, because we hold each other accountable. Just like Edmund and I hold each other accountable. It's like when I don't do something I'm supposed to do, I can expect that kind of look for him. And when he doesn't do something he expects from me, I can tell him 1,000 lashings like I always do. It's like, but there's that accountability. If I say I'm going to do something and I say it to you, I'm around people now who expect me to actually do what I say. And if I don't, are going to be give me that side eye look afterwards, like, I thought you were that guy that did the thing, and now you're showing me that you're not him right now. Or, hey, bro, you're better than that.
Right.
You said, what happened to the thing you said you were going to do? Why haven't you accomplished that thing? He's like, you're better than that. Maybe, maybe you need to rest. Maybe you need to take some time, or maybe you just need to get your ass up and get going.
Yeah, for sure. Because you got to stay sharp, man. This is all just about staying as sharp as possible in a world that is trying to cut you down.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Because it's you may think that that go grind set is what's going to get it done. It's not. There's going to be times where you need to reset, rest, and then tackle it a different way. But it's the marathon. It's the cardio. It's what is your stance? What is your cardio? That's the main things you need to figure out. Is, do I have the balls to carry this thing all the way to the end? And what is that thing going to be? You know what I mean?
And figuring out where you're leading your life, man. Because like I said, if you really seeking to date and dating with a purpose, it really takes being a purpose-driven man to do that in a successful way. Because you can be in a relationship and not be on purpose. You can be in a relationship and be a drifter. But I can tell you from personal experience, it doesn't go well.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's probably going to end ugly one way or another. So, but yeah, man. So definitely wanted to tap in with that, man, to give some of this dating game, this dating advice. We're not sitting here talking about spinning plates or go find more women. Dude, what I'm gonna say is you probably need less women. You probably need to focus on your shit.
Right. For real. Because all they're gonna be doing is asking you to take them out to eat and rub their feet and what we doing and what you're thinking about, messing with you. And it's beautiful. It really is fun. But you're not gonna be able to value what she really brings to you until you understand what you're bringing to yourself and to that relationship too.
Or have expectations.
Or have those expectations.
Or have some, because a lot of guys will, when you are drifting, a lot of times you will just accept whatever comes your way in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Any good look, any nice butt and a smile. Anybody that smells good, that's willing to give you some time and attention. This any woman that's willing to lay down for you. In a lot of cases, for some guys, just a warm hole. It's like,
talk about it.
But when you're on your purpose, when you're doing the thing you're supposed to be doing, man, you start expecting more from yourself and expecting more from the world around you. And that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing, man. And that's actually how you find, the women that are actually worth walking along with you on this mission. And
Mhm.
will you find her right away? Maybe not. Maybe so. I hope you do. That'd be
Mhm.
great. I'd be happy for you if you found her. And bro, if you have found her, put it down in the comment section. Like, hey man, I found my wife or I found my girl, and I was lost and doing my thing. Some guys have that experience where, you and I talked about it, where they were drifting and met this woman, and that shifted. Because that woman expected more of him, and that guy stepped up. That's
Mhm.
not the case for everybody. A
No.
lot of people have a different experience. So definitely put that in the comment section. What's been your experience with, dating while you were a drifter or that lost boy compared
Yeah.
to dating when you were on purpose? It's like, what experiences have you had with that, man? Let's drop that down in the comment section so we can help these other brothers out, man, and keep us going and slightly entertained at the same time.
Yeah, for sure, man. So make sure that you could check us out on all of our social media: IG, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, your YouTube podcast. Everywhere is Warriors Way Home. And yeah, man, we thank you so much for your time. But just remember, guys, it's easier to find your purpose than just drifting in life and then wondering what happened. It's better to be a warrior in the garden.
Danny Gardner in the war.
See you guys next time.
Stay
Peace.
dangerous, my friends.